missed the old shut-offs. When he went, I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Now, what this is basically is going to be a video that you guys can refer to
Okay.
so that you understand plumbing-wise what you should be doing from here.
Right.
Okay? So, first thing I want you to do is to make sure that you have toilet tablets. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do when you walk into the thing, you're going to say to the customer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a tablet into the back of your toilet tank. What that's going to show me is if there's any leaks happening that we don't see. So you drop the tablets in. Okay? Tablets are in. Forget about the toilet for a few minutes now. So now you're going to go look at your faucet. You're looking for corrosion, leaks, handles missing. You know, check your handles, check your pop-up. You guys did a lot of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're checking the faucet, the function of the faucet. You're gonna open up the cabinet. If you notice down in the kitchen, loaded, up here can be just as loaded. Don't be shy. Mrs. Smith, and you ask permission, because
Yeah.
maybe things in there she doesn't want you to see.
Right.
So you ask permission. Would it be all right if I remove some of the stuff so I can watch and check the drains? She says yes. Just gently put it over to the side. She may say, let me do it. Fine. Go step out, let her do it. Just like I said, that's people's privacy in there. So you want to let them do what they have to do first. But a lot of people they don't worry about it. Oh, they keep apologizing. You just keep saying, no worries, I do this all the time. It's not a problem. I'll even put it back neatly for you.
Yeah.
Whatever. So now you get the stuff out of there. So you got to be able to see what's going on in there, okay? And I would, if this is working, his doesn't, but I would plug this and start filling this up. I'd poke my head underneath there and I'd look at the shut-off valves. I'd look at the supplies and even take a flashlight and look up to where the faucet's connected to make sure you don't see any drips, corrosion, or anything up there. You can't do that if everything's in your way, so you got to get in there.
Okay.
These shut-off valves, the old shut-off valves, so I don't want you closing them because it's a problem.
Yeah.
You're going to close them and you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The washers are going to break and the faucet's going to get plugged up on you and then it's your fault. So what I would say is kind of like what Patrick was saying and Bryce was saying, these are old shut-offs. In the old system, they had a rubber gasket in there. Because these are never used, and they are for emergencies, because they're never used, when they go to use them, that rubber usually breaks and causes problems. Either it doesn't hold, or it could get up into your faucet. They have newer shutoffs that are ball valve type now, that are much better. And if there's ever, God forbid, a problem or an emergency or something breaks, you'll be able to use them. And unfortunately, these I can't touch, I can't test them because they may not work. Now, a customer may, at this point, say, do you know if they're working or not? You can say to them, I can try them, but I can't promise you that we may not have an issue. It's always about letting them know what could happen so it's not a surprise. If somebody asks you to try it and check it, you certainly can. But if it blocks up the faucet or doesn't hold, they'll have to pay for that. So you have to make sure that it's very clear, that piece, okay? So then, this is filling up. Don't miss that. Make sure you check so you don't overflow. Now, you drop it, and you're underneath there. You can even say to the customer, would you mind pressing the pop-up while I put my head under there? So you get your head right under there, hits the pop-up. A full sink is better than a half sink because that volume of water going down that quickly will cause any leaks to show up in the pipe because the whole pipe fills with water rather than water just swirls down.
Yeah.
So now that gives you the opportunity to check your slip nuts, to check where it connects to the bottom of the sink, to check your trap. You're looking for leaks, okay? If you don't see any, that's good. So you did it, you filled it. You then want to come up and then do it again because now you're under there. And you want to fill it one more time and watch it drain. So now you're watching it drain, And now, if it doesn't drain very quickly, you're gonna say, as we talked about, geez, that's awfully slow. Or you go, I like that one. Because they go, what's it, something wrong? And then it makes them talk to you, to act, that you're trying to find that pain. And you say, well, it's a little slow, does that bother you? And of course, they're gonna say, yeah, when I'm shaving, the water gets all caught up in there. Well, I could take care of that for you if you'd like. I could do, a drain cleaning while I'm here. Okay, so that's the sink. This is, what's happening over here is leave it alone. You want that dye to start spreading around in there. So now you're gonna go to the tub. Okay? You guys did really good of asking questions, anything up here. So sometimes they're pointing you to the directions to be looking at. Okay, so the next question is, so you say, yeah, I noticed that you got a lot of caulking around here, and a lot of it's broken up on the edges. Is that something that you would like me to address? We're not really, and he said it, we're not contractors, but I can throw some caulking in there for you. Yeah. But it's not really the area of our expertise. It's more of in a carpenter's type of setting. Okay, but I do have some caulking in the truck if you want. So then in here, you're gonna block that drain. You're gonna fill it up, and you're gonna watch it drain. And you're gonna see if it drains properly. A good full tub is good. I don't expect you to fill it to the very brim, but a good half a point, because you want to watch it and see how that swirl, that suction goes down to see if it's working well. Just a little bit of water isn't enough. Okay, so fill it up. You can even, when you walk in, just like the toilet, say, well, I'm gonna just get this starting to fill while you're working on this. Okay, so you came in, you lifted that up, get that filling, you get your tablets inside, and now you turn to this, it's already probably half full by the time you did this test. And now you're gonna test it, you're gonna watch it drain, you're gonna say, yes, that's draining good, or no, notice it's a little slow, you see the way it bubbles, things like that. You're asking the questions, what do you ever stand in the shower and have water around your feet or anything like that? So you're asking some questions about that. Then once that's down, then you turn this on and you run the water. You're testing to see how the shower head is. A good sell for you guys is a new shower head. Yeah. If you see it's not very good or old or crusty, hey, I noticed that shower head's not really giving a good volume of water for you. Would a new shower head be something that you might be interested in? They may say, yeah, you have something better or whatever, so there's some options that. Simmons shower valves will drip. I remember Andrew talked about it. They're not a positive close. A little water will drip out of there, but not a lot of water. So if it's a lot of, so he's got a good amount coming out. There is an option to rebuild that faucet. But it will come out. You'll never get it to stop 100%. It's not designed to. Hear that thump? You guys hear it? Yeah. What's happening is the stem in there is jolting forward. This is an old Simmons. If you take this off, there's probably a nut right there, and you tighten that down, and it'll stop the stem from popping. But it's also and you go, you hear that banging noise? So the person says, yeah, this is an area where you could talk about a rebuild here. How long you been living here? Only a year. Geez, I wonder if anyone ever rebuilt this, Might be a good option to put down for a rebuild. So that's how you talk about the rebuild, okay? Now, you've done this test, and now you've let this had some time. So now you're gonna open the toilet up and you're gonna look and see if there's any blue in there. If there's blue, what's going on if you see blue in there?
Leaking. The flapper isn't fully sealing.
Right, okay. So now you can say, see the blue in the tank? It's not supposed to be there. It means that the water from here is slipping by into your toilet and costing you money on your water bill. Does that make you happy? No. So that tells you that. Now, people don't know, you said it a lot, flapper. Andrew knows because he's been around, but a lot of people don't know what you're talking about. So you may want to just dumb the words down a little bit and say, the seal that keeps the water in the tank is starting to go on you. They get jelly-like, they get destroyed, and it probably needs to be replaced. Usually what I like to do when I replace those is, this is the water fill valve, which has been in there exactly the same amount of time as the seal. So in this case, the best option here would be to replace the fill valve and the seal at the same time. Now you'll have a rebuilt toilet and you don't have to worry about it down the future, okay? So that's how you talk about that. If there's no dyes in there, it didn't travel, you're saying, hey, everything seems to be good in here. It doesn't look like you need to replace anything at the moment. Seems to be flushing well, the handles are doing good, so I don't see anything reason here. What I'm gonna check to see how tight it is to the floor, so I'm grabbing the toilet and lifting, and I don't tear it off the floor.
Yeah.
But you know, lift it, you'll feel it. If you feel it wobble or wiggle in any way,
Yeah.
you know what's going on. Now, when you talk about that, let's say this toilet was loose, you can say, and I think Bryce talked about it, was, you know, a pull and reset. What's underneath there is a gasket. This is where explaining this very clearly to the customer. Under this toilet is a flange, and there's a gasket that sits in between the toilet and the flange that makes the seal. When that gasket starts to wear out or the bolts loosen up, that's why this toilet is wobbly right now. Now, any leaking downstairs, they say no, good. That means the wax is still in place, but not for long in this condition, because every time somebody sits on this, it's causing that wax to loosen even more. What you definitely need done here is you need to have a pull and reset. But I just gotta explain to you something. Under this toilet is a flange that holds this toilet to the floor. And a lot of times when we take these up, because water's on it all the time, they rust out, they rot out, they crack. If for any reason that is broken, we will have to replace it, because I will not be able to put the toilet back on, because that flange holds this toilet to the floor. I will give you a cost for it before we touch anything, so that you understand what could be under there. So I'm explaining it. You don't want to pull this toilet off to just do a simple wax ring seal and then find that flange is broken, and now you got to go back with your head down and say, oh, well, I found this. You know, one, did you break it? They don't know.
Yeah.
But if you're talked about it before you touch the toilet, then at least they're warned and ready for it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've checked that. Same thing with the same words out of your mouth for the valve. You know, this is your emergency shutoff. I'm not going to touch it because it has a gasket in there. It's not reused very often. There is options to replace it if that's something you want. Bryce talked about changing to a no-burst supply. A good upsell right there. Hey, you notice you don't have a no-burst on this. I can put a no-burst on this toilet very easily. This one has one, but is that something you want to do? What is a no-burst? You know, and then you explain it, blah, 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 okay? So that's your toilet, bathroom. Any questions in here? No.
Popular man.
What's important is, so to save you time, is get things started. I'm doing this to test this, I'm filling this up so I can test that, and then go to this. So that these are already in the process. Got it? Let's go down.